Welcome back to the channel. Today I bring you another interview and I'm delighted to announce that here with me today is none other than the world champion of Altered, Rinku. Welcome to the channel.
Yeah, thank you. It's my first time here. Very much appreciate all the work you and the whole spaghetti team does. So thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you very much. How are you?
I'm doing well. Yeah, just it's pretty hard to go back to normal life after, just being such a celebrity in Paris and everything like that. But in slightly more serious sort of way, I feel like there's a lot of like preparation and like it was a really good celebration. Like whether or not you were playing in Worlds was just a really good event for everyone. I'm sure you felt the same way too.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely. It was an amazing event all around for basically I think everyone. Like I see everyone happy with like positive attitude and enjoying their time there.
yeah,
So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, so really, I'm just so happy that in this game, in the first year, we were able to have a world championship that was this good. Like some games have to wait a while, or sometimes the first worlds isn't that good. But you would have thought that this is like the third worlds or the fifth worlds, and I'm already looking forward to next year's.
yeah, I can admit that I was not expecting this level of like the world championship. My expectation were pretty low, I should say,
Yeah.
for this event. But I was like saying, well, I'm with all my friends, so even if the event is not that great, I will be having fun and stuff like that. And in the end, I mean, the event was amazing. And actually, in the total in the lobby, I didn't have like that many time spent with my friends actually because I was casting in
Yeah.
some moments. I've played on Friday, so the time spent with my friends was almost like just outside the lobby, and in the lobby I
Yeah,
spent
yeah.
time like had meetings new friends or new people, and so it was really great to stand here. And
Mhm.
so, how it feels to be the world champion, the first world champion of Altered.
Yeah, it feels good in a lot of ways. I definitely felt very fortunate and lucky. Of course I played well in some spots, not as well in other spots, and then luck kind of bailed me out in some situations. So I know that this is something I should just be thankful for. It's not that I worked harder than everyone else or anything like that. I just feel like I am happy that I am in the reality where I'm the world champion because there are a lot of other realities where someone else is the world champion. And it's obviously just very flattering. Like every time I play on Board Game Arena now, or I just like talk to someone in Discord there, it's like, oh, I got to play the world champion. At least I lost to the world champion, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm still just another person playing Altered, but I'm glad that at this point, more than just myself, I feel like I help embody like some sort of competitive spirit or something in the game. Like there's certain things that people are either feeling or experiencing when they hear my name or talk to me or even just play me. And when people beat me, they're so much happier than they were before. So if I'm contributing more to the happiness of the world by losing to people, I'll do it. So maybe not for next year's worlds, but in the meantime, I could stand to lose a little.
Yeah, yeah. I probably never played against you, I think.
Yeah, maybe
I'm
once, but I really don't remember.
like
I've
in the
definitely played
early
against
stage of
like
Altered, maybe. But
yeah. Well, I started in Trial by Frost, so it's a little bit later in set two.
okay.
But I've played against like Roscat and a few of the other spaghetti people. So, but yeah, I think I've only seen like a deck list of yours that I probably copied at the time. But I don't think we've played yet. So
Well,
don't
that's a
worry.
pleasure.
Maybe the first time we play, you could beat the world champion.
Well, that's a pleasure to see that. But what? Wow, I didn't know you started that late. Let's say that in the game. And why you start playing then? Because
Yeah.
most of the people
So.
I know started playing in the Kickstarter, like me, for example.
Mhm. Yeah,
So,
so I have played other competitive card games.
mhm.
So I was formerly like a professional Magic the Gathering player.
Oh
It's the
wow,
first trading card game I played. And then I also played in the World Championship for another card game called Eternal Card Game, which was also made by some Magic players. So I've definitely dabbled in other games before, but it was when I saw like I was looking at one year. I guess it would be 2023. I always screw up the years, but there was like an Essen that I just love seeing what new board games are coming out, and Altered was all over this one Essen. So I backed the Kickstarter day one, and I was just really about it. I really wanted to play it. I saw literally one gameplay, and I just knew it was the game for me. Um, so I backed like the level that gave you like 4 boxes and 2 starter decks or something like that.
Okay.
Um, and so I got all my product and I was waiting for like when organized play would be, and I looked at like my local game stores and stuff like that, like pretty early when I got my product, and they didn't have anything. So I just assumed that it didn't start. And then I remember I think it might have actually been my girlfriend that like found a post saying like something about organized play, or it was me finding a post about the pre-release for set two. I'm like,
Oh, okay.
pre-release for set two? Set one didn't even happen yet. So then I like looked it up online and found out that I literally just missed all of season one. All my products was still sealed. Um, so then I guess after attending my first pre-release, which was Trial by Frost, I only like a month and a half later discovered um, 39 cards. Then a
Okay.
month later, I actually clicked on the links in 39 cards, saw that it linked to Board Game Arena, and I'm like, wait, I can play in these. So the first time I played Board Game Arena Altered was a outside of the theme decks
Yeah.
was a an AWOL when I got off of work early one time, and that must have been in like April or something like that.
Oh,
And
wow.
I actually qualified for like the AWOL Invitational, and the Ace at the time, the one that Kohlrabi would run through his LGS. I qualified for both of those like 2 or 3 weeks into playing like Altered on Board Game Arena. But yeah, I really didn't play outside of just a pre-release and a few AWOLs before playing in those events, which is pretty funny.
So it's really seems your game.
Yeah, there's I really like that Altered. I think the deck building's amazing because you have the two different axes of like rarity with commons and like where you're getting your trade-offs, and that really appealed to me. But it was actually the terrain that like really spoke to me. Just like trying to like sure if you can like play a really cheap like I don't know. You play like an Annunciance, like a 999. Like the terrains don't really matter at that
Yeah.
point. But for like a lot of the early game and for decks that can't just make something that's huge, like the terrains matter so much. Like I was teaching some of my girlfriend's friends how to play Altered using the theme decks that I played originally. So it was like
Mm.
Kojo and Teja from set one. And I had like a Parvati in my opening hand that I knew that I was probably gonna play on like probably 5 or 6 mana, and I like lined up all the biomes to only be forest and water. And like I'm just like, hey, just to like show you the depth in the game, I've like planned this since turn one, and they're just like, you can do that. I just thought it was luck the whole time. And then another game I played Kojo, and I did the same with Bravo's Pathfinder. So that type of stuff really intrigues me, like how you can try to like almost like line them up and they don't even realize that you're trying to like cause things to happen is like so cool. But also, if you want to ignore that entirely, you could just view it as luck and you're like, man, I'm so lucky all this lined up for me, and it feels really good too. So I'm glad that we can both, that novices can feel lucky, and then like experienced people could be like, I planned this and it worked, like let's go. So
Yeah, it's like a really important thing, like what you are speaking about, because especially like in competitive scene, like this makes the difference between a like good player and a really strong player. Like
Mhm.
having the ability to construct your fortune, like let's say that. So
Yeah.
not just being lucky, like it's also a skill basically. Maybe altered
Mhm.
sometimes it's more randomic than some other TCG, but even in this one, like this, you can like beat the luck, the randomness with your skill level and
Mhm.
your deck building, basically, as you
Mhm.
said. So yeah, it's a really like quite good thing for the game, and it's one of the like key aspect, I think. So yeah.
Mhm.
And well, let's talk about you a little bit more. Are you in a team, in a competitive team, or you're a standalone player?
Yeah, so I'm a part of Team AQZ. So after the AWOL Invitational that I happened to qualify
Okay.
for, I guess in the AWOL events themselves, Simon kind of like picked me out. So Star Sign Simon, who like helps run so much of the AWOL stuff. Um, he kind of just like pointed me out to AQZ even before the event started. And then I ended up beating Freeloader in a Kojo mirror. And then like Simon's like, I told you that guy's like great. And then I ended up like top fouring and losing to El Wee Wee in the top four, which was obviously, a very fun match. And after that, I also talked to like Roomfolk once on the side, just telling him I really enjoyed watching him commentate. Um, so then, like, Roomfolk reached back out to me after that event. It was just like, we would love for you to join AQZ. So, yeah. So I play with them, and I don't know how your team works, but AQZ is not a team in the way I think people think of like competitive esports team. Like, we have so many people that really just more care about the content creation and getting people interested in the game, but also like even when we are like working on things, they end up being just like us chatting about things, not usually playing games, like a lot of trolling. Like I wouldn't say it's always like productive, but it's a community. I If it wasn't for them, I don't know if I would love the game as much as I do right now. Like obviously the game drew me in and I really liked it, but there's just so many like jokes and antics and stuff through the team. So it's more than being like a team in the traditional sense, like trying to like win tournaments. It's more that I have this community that truly cares about me. I truly care about them on almost like a not altered level at this point, but it's like channeled through altered tournaments that we are like talking more.
Yeah, Altered seems like just an excuse to stay together, bond together. Like, yeah, like my team as well. Like, obviously, we are trying to reach good levels of play
Yeah.
and good levels in tournament. So we have Giacomo that qualified for the World
Yeah.
Championship, and we were this close for other two people qualifying. But
It's close.
yeah, it was close, not, but it is what it is. But I consider them like my second family, basically. Like I chat with them every day with random stuff, like not always altered related things. So I'm really happy with the team, and yeah, I I can see that you are happy as well with your team, and it's a really nice
Yeah.
thing to see. But like for example, how did you prepare for this event, and how important was the help from and support of your team in this case?
Yeah, so from a higher level, I don't really prepare in the same way other people do. I try to master the fundamentals of the game from a higher level on my own time, not when a tournament's going to happen.
Okay.
That way, the tournament prep could be more focused on specifically forming a deck list. Like, some people are like, oh, I'm picking up this deck for the first time. I need to learn these interactions. For me, if it was a contender, I should have learned it months before considering world stuff. Um, which ironically I guess didn't fully happen. But yeah, so famously on an interview with Blue, I said when I won Dallas that I was going to play Kojo's Sigismar Trace if it's going to be this format, and I'll prove to people why we should maybe try a different format, which I didn't think would turn out so well with the finals literally both being that lineup. But to say that that was like locked in from the beginning would definitely be lying. So pretty much, I knew I wanted to play a Bravos. So I'm known for playing Kojo, but I
Mm-hmm.
felt like specifically when Set 4 came out, just like the card quality really helped Basira and didn't really help Kojo.
Okay.
Like the most you really got was like Leviathan Spotter, I guess, which is cool. It is just Baba Yaga, but so um, so I knew I was going to play one of those two, and the way I would play would be similar. So didn't have to sweat too much about that. Sigismar, I knew I was going to play. I was actually surprised how many people didn't bring Sigismar because I just felt like so many people believe that Sigismar is very oppressive and it's just like clearly one of the best decks. So I just planned on every single lineup having Sigismar, but it could be possible that like given how the conquest format works, if you think you can make a lineup that beats Sigismar, then you don't want to bring Sigismar, and then like those lineups you can beat one of their things, and there's this whole like rock paper scissors thing happening. But I think it could have been possible that people like overcooked, like they just like could have just brought Sigismar and probably gotten like not
Yeah.
free wins, but like it can only be so bad. Like I was talking to all the marbles a little bit about like, is it
Hmm.
possible to come up with a 3-deck lineup that actually beats Sigismar? And we came to the conclusion that you probably can't come up with more than 2 decks that would beat Sigismar, given the faction like restrictions. If
Yeah,
you could
yeah.
play like any hero you want, you could definitely come up with 3 heroes. If you could be in the same faction, that would beat Sigismar. Um, so the way I actually practiced my Sigismar was just by playing no unique events. So a lot of people feel like they want to play their uniques to understand their unique choice and all that stuff. And, I'm not a part of like Altered Aces or Exalt or anything. I don't just have the best uniques. So it's just whatever uniques I could get my hands on. And in fact, I didn't even get one of the uniques for my deck until like maybe like 3 or 4 days before the event. I asked someone if I could borrow their unique if they don't win the LCQ. So like just very, very fortunate I was able to borrow like above average uniques, but I knew that I guess some people try to build decks, and especially if you're gonna build, say, like Tasia Mass Anchor, you literally need uniques. But I want my deck that in its worst moments are still able to perform well against my opponent drawing uniques, which really drew me to a deck like Kojo, where I could be like, okay, it's cool that you spent, 500 a year on that unique. I have this Mana Eruption card, so it doesn't really matter. Like, those types of things really appeal
Yeah,
to
yeah.
me. So so yeah, like even on ladder, when I would test to get better at the game, I would actually play no unique on purpose and not view it as a crutch. I just viewed it as me getting unlucky with my deck. And then when I play an event and have such good cards, I really know how to like utilize them from the standpoint that it's like adding this other dimension or giving like card draw where I normally wouldn't have card draw. So yeah, I just played a bunch of NUC, Sigismar, and I just really liked the ascend like sort of mechanic. Like when I compare Ugly Duckling to Jack Frost, which I was
Hmm.
playing no Jack Frost, I'm just like, well, I could exhaust one of their things, or I could advance when I normally wouldn't, and it's just like, why wouldn't I just want to advance? Plus, it could be a one that allows you to advance, so it kind of has like pseudo scout. It's kind of like Aegis Templar in some ways. Um, so it's like Jack Frost slash like Aegis Templar, and then even has this support ability, which I've never used, but like it could come up with like if you have a bunch of like troopers in your hand and your mana lines up a certain way. So the game is so intricate with so many components that like the Ugly Duckling seems pretty cool. But what playing with uniques let me do was I was able to cut Gift of Self, which I think you have to play in NUC,
Hmm.
for just uniques that draw cards.
Okay.
So instead of like, oh, I need to like take off to draw cards, it's like I can commit to the board and draw cards. So that was nice. Um, then I actually really struggled with my third deck. I wanted to play Trace, but I didn't really have good uniques for it, so I wasn't very confident in that. So I tried to ask my team for help, and a lot of people admittedly biased a little bit towards the decks that they like playing. And I was like, well, with Kojo and Sigismar, I want to ban these things, so maybe I can't play this type of third deck. And then they're like, oh, you should play this deck. I'm like, wait, no, that doesn't work with how banning works. Like, I understand your deck's good, but it doesn't really work here. Um, so eventually, to get everyone to just be on the same page and actually try to help me, whether they knew it or not, was I started something called the Rinku Challenge, which is open deck list. They have to choose a hero that is not in Ortis or Bravos, and they have to beat my Kojo and my Sigismar with uniques, and then they would win the challenge. And people challenged me, for 2 or 3 days,
Wow.
and they had to, just go 4-0, beating like both my lineup. Because I thought that the most common thing would be to bring Bravo, Sigismar, something else, which was common in some ways, but like there were plenty of people that did not bring one of those. And so the only person that won the challenge was Franico, who won with Trace. So I was like, okay, like I think that helps a lot. But then when I got there, yeah, I played against Runefolk. I played Trace against Basira because originally my plan was to ban Trace,
Hmm.
especially if they have really good uniques. And I like couldn't even buy a win. Like I just like lost 5-0 or 6-0 with Trace against Basira, and I'm just like, man, maybe this deck just really stinks. I just don't think I could bring this deck to Worlds. So I was actually really close to playing Hostage.
Okay.
So and I have two teammates that Keelan Guy and Runefolk are
Yeah.
very into this. So they were definitely happy with that. So when I went to sleep on Thursday night, I actually sent a Discord message to my team saying if I had to lock in tonight, I would play Basira Sigismar and Hostage Moyo. So what happened on Friday? So to get me onto Kojo didn't take that much. It was specifically watching Pava play, and I was like, Pava is fantastic with Kojo. Of course, like right now, their build's a little bit different than my build,
Yep.
but I was like, if they're still playing it, and I watched a lot of genetics replays from Team DSL, and I was like, if these people are really good with Kojo, and I think I'm really good with Kojo, like I can still do this.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's what got me off of Basir to Kojo. I would say it's an amount of pride also. Like I just wanted to play the deck I was known for playing. Like, um, and then what happened with Hostage? So both Runefolk and Healon Guy lost their first round of the LCQ with Hostage to matchups that they thought were pretty reasonable or even good. And I was just like, well, that's not a good sign.
No.
So then I like worked with Healon Guy for maybe like an hour or two. And eventually I was just like, but what if someone brings Sigismar and like Lyran Hydra Nuit combo? Or like, what if someone brings like two festivals and like Sigismar? Like, can we just build this hostage deck to actually beat Sigismar instead of requiring a Sigismar ban? And maybe like 20 minutes into that, Keelan Guy just said, yeah, if we're trying to beat Sigismar, that's like not the point of this deck, so I'm pulling the plug, you go play Trace, and he just laughed. So I would say like throughout this experience, there was like an amount of faith that I had in my teammates, like for him to just decide for me that that would happen, or like I wasn't gonna play a Kojo list that Freeloader didn't say he was okay with, because there have been times like Dallas, I played a list that he didn't fully approve, and then like partway through the tournament, I realized he was right. Like, so I like trust them to some extent in terms of like making those decisions. Like when
Mhm.
someone says something that strongly on my behalf. Like it's one thing to be like hostage is great, you should play hostage, but to just be like, I see where this is going. You cannot play hostage in this event. You're playing Trace, and it's just like okay, like that is a very strong statement, and like clearly is like thinking about me and my best interest.
Yes.
So like I'll trust you. So I actually played Fernico's list, like pretty much what he recommended, except I wanted to play more Pajus because I saw just looking at 39 cards over time, people were playing more Pajus, and allowed me to be aggressive in some spots that I wouldn't be
Well,
otherwise.
I can share
Um,
the deck list. So while we
oh yeah,
talk
yeah, we can go
about
over
them,
that. Yeah.
okay, we'll
Okay,
start with
cool.
Trace, then we can go back to the others, for
Yeah,
example. So yeah,
yeah.
this is your Trace list. Yeah, you were saying that you started running more Paju.
Yep. Yeah, so I cut, or for Nico's recommendation, he said to cut a bug out bag for one Paju, and then I decided to cut the second Aerolith Reef for a second Paju. Because I just
Okay.
didn't want to like sputter out. I like really just wanted to have things that were at least a body that could advance. Like if I
Yeah.
have an opening hand that's too many of these landmarks, that's like not ideal. Um, and then yeah, I was very thankful on the unique front. So the Martingale is for Nico's, and the other two are from all the marbles because they decided to not play Trace. They're not fantastic, but like they still are serviceable
Hmm.
like uniques that will give you boosts, and they both have like the arrow ability, so they help enable a little. Pretty good with the Paju. Um, but yeah, and the other thing was that Fernico told me like from his list I should cut the third Haven for the second Armor Jammer. I think I would have liked the third Haven with like at least how I played the deck, which was still trying to be an aggro deck. Like I think people think of Trace as like not the most aggressive deck, like that you try to like get this hero power online and then like push an advantage. But I guess just the way I operate in this game, if I were to play it more like
Hmm.
an aggro deck, it would make more sense to me. So I think if I were to do it again, I would probably cut the Jammer and still play the third Haven.
See, I believe like Traced in, especially like in arena and stuff like that, started to run more control cards, like Double Reef, Boom, and stuff like that. So
Mhm.
the deck shifted a little bit from being just characters and aggro to a little bit of a control deck. And
Mhm.
I talk about with Vittorio, the other finalist, that his list was like that. So with booms, with reefs, with a lot of like removal, and
Yeah.
like we saw how the final went. Like he kind of bricked because he
Yeah.
draw double boom and some other removal. So not the good cards, let's say that. And I think like the deck with the removal is incredible if you start seeing them late in the game. But
Yeah.
it took a big hit in consistency. So in a format like the conquest format, I
But,
believe that
mhm.
you don't need a list with that many removal just because you have the ban, so you can ban the
Yeah.
deck that you are having problem with on the faction or maybe,
Mhm.
and you want to be as consistent as possible because you have one
Right.
single game to play basically. So and it's not like in a Swiss round where you can face like basically every hero and some random shit that you need to have answer to. In like in a format like that, you can see the list, you can see where your problem is, and like adjust which hero you want to play against it. So
Right. Like really my goal was to just play Kojo with three heroes. So like Sigismar's definitely very close to Kojo, and I just ended up like the reason why I said what I said a long time ago
mhm.
was because I just thought Trace you could build like sure it doesn't have the hero power giving the advantage in the same sort of way, but I thought you could build it to like try to double advance as much as possible. Um, but yeah, I think like to your point, say if you were playing the LCQ and you were gonna play Trace, you have to 7-0 the LCQ. Like you cannot have a bad matchup, so you need to have the cards available to do it. But like what you said, like the ban helps. But also, I just want three decks that were the same. So if I build this one to be more controlling or having more removal, then shouldn't I just build my Kojo and maybe not even bring Sigismar? Like I should have three controlling decks. And if you
Okay.
look at Vittorio's Kojo list, for instance, it's way more controlling than mine was. His Kojo list was closer to like a controlled Basira list in some ways.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. It was a different approach, like the three same hero, but like three completely different approach because he was playing, for example, in Sigismar the Skybound Odyssey.
Skybound Odyssey, yeah.
So yeah, so this is your trace list. Like we can say pretty standard. You decided to
Mhm.
run a little bit more on the consistency side rather than the control side, so a little bit more aggro.
Yeah.
And then we can speak about Kojo, I believe. No, this is Sigismar. Right? Well, we can speak about
I,
Sigismar
I could
maybe.
use Sigismar. Yep. So Sigismar, I would say standard, but that's just kind of not true. So I really just don't have any sabotage in this list. I won't lie. Part of the reason why I was playing one Legate and two Frog Prince was because I thought I brought three Frog Prince with me, and it was 2:30 in the morning, and deck submission was at 3. And I actually wanted to play three Frog Prince, but I was just worried I wouldn't be able to find someone to give me one. So really, I want to play no sabotage. If I could go back in time, I would play probably one Ortis Spy because when they open deck lists know you don't have sabotage, that's kind of bad for you because then they could just keep in the reserve the whole time until it's
Yeah,
good for them.
yeah. That's a good
And
point.
then I actually, yeah. So I also played the Moth Collision, and the reason for that was I thought if I didn't ban Basira for whatever reason, say if they had two broken decks, if I determined, like, my original plan was to ban Basira, that way, because that's the only reason why I didn't want to play Trace.
Hmm.
So if I could always ban Basira, and then after that, ban the deck that they're known for. So, but just in case there's like a weird thing that happened where, say if someone had like some resupply combos and also Basira, Moth Collision's really good against like that sort of lineup. Um, but if I could go back in time, I would probably cut the Moth Collision for some other character. But yeah, so my list was kind of saying what I said I want to do in the beginning of just like in NUC, I just really want to ascend, really just want to push expeditions. So it has like the swords, the ugly ducklings, the send a trooper, and the gargoyle. And I just felt like so many decks were not equipped for literally just you trying to steamroll them. Like, you get people playing cards like Gift of Self. For a while, I wasn't even playing Ortis Attorney. But then I realized that, like, if you progress quickly enough, then they just have to give you the card draw with the Ortis Attorney. But sometimes you can still play the Attorney and just, like, line up a Sandman or Teamwork Training or something like that to still get the advance.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like, this is like your standard quote, like, ascend list, but I don't think, like, I think I might have been the only competitor to register the rare Ugly Duckling. I didn't actually look through all the lists, but, like, I think that card's just kind of busted. It plays very well, so I also want to max out on 1-drops for this Kokoba unique, who I was borrowing from Chili from Team AQZ. Ironically, it's the one that Trickster won his, like, online event with, because Chili lent it to him for that. But he promised it to me for after Dallas, so I got to borrow it, which was great. But pretty much on 5 mana, if you can play this Kokoba and any 1-drop, you have 5 characters in play, so it's hard for them to kill the Kokoba. And even if they have, like, a small removal spell, say like a Ysmir Signet, for, like, one of the tokens, you still have 4 characters in play to draw 2. So it's just trying to, like,
insane.
maximize that. So yeah, I actually...
It's insane.
Yeah.
I'm reading it for
wild.
the first time, actually, because I didn't read it during the stream, and it's fucking insane.
Yeah, it's... I didn't think that they could put that much text on a card, but they did. So, let's see. In my matches, I actually only played Sigismar 3 times, because I got banned 5 of my 7 matches or something like that. I played in the finals, and I played it against the people that banned my Kojo, because they knew I was known for Kojo.
Mm-hmm.
And I drew the Kokoba both in not the finals. So the times that Kojo was banned, I drew the Kokoba and didn't draw the Babas. Or I think I drew the Baba once at the end game where I just needed any character. So, like the 2-drop Baba. So, yeah, I didn't get to play this deck a lot, but it was cool to win the finals with it too. Just like a very quick, like, 2-1, like 2-0 advance game. So that it was after sweating so much in, like, game 1 and 2, it was nice to just have a really quick, like, a double ascend, like, victory type of thing.
Yeah, it was quick as fuck. Because I was actually jumping on for the commentary, and it lasted like 2 minutes. I was like, well, my job here is done.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you maximize basically the 1-drops, and you're actually playing a lot of 1-offs in your deck list, I see, because even in the Kojo list that I'm going to share right now, you have some 1-offs. Do you wanna, like, talk about this choice?
Yeah.
Just because, like, usually people rather play free cards just because you want to see it. And playing the 1-off, I'm a fan of the 1-offs, but it's actually strange maybe to see, just because you can have like a billion of cards that are situational, and I don't know why did you choose to run these like 1-offs on your decks?
Yeah.
Because for example, in Siege there was 1 Bubble Beat, 1 Moth Collision, 1 another, and I don't remember.
Yeah, 1 Legate. Yeah. So I think sometimes so. What I've always said in card games is that to look at a deck list is like appreciating art. So you can't just look at the numbers. You can't just, like, run a formula against it. You have to think what this human, like, chose to do. Like, people don't accidentally put 1 card in their deck. So I really like your question from that standpoint. So, for instance, a card like Bumblebee is like, well, there's a few heuristics you can use to think, like, why is the number not 3? Because sometimes 2 is also a weird number. Like, here I'm playing 2 Chiron, 2 Pathfinder. Like, that could just feel weird to people. So, first, when I see a 1-of, I just think, is it that bad to draw the second one? Like, is it just horrendous if in your opener it's just 2 of your 6 cards? So for instance here, I just really didn't want 2 Hungers in my opener. And let alone, like, if I have 2 Hungers on my opener, then I'm, like, wasting a rare spot on, like, that's a rare mana. I don't want to have rare mana, I want to have common mana.
Yeah.
So that's part of why we ended up splitting the Hunger with the Halua, which was Balthazar's idea, so another member of AQZ. So it's like you want a certain amount for Spotter, but when you have too many of these things in your hand, you want to mana the common one. Like, it doesn't feel that bad. That's why I was playing common Priya too. Like, my goal is to never play Priya. I want to reveal it and then put it down in mana. But like, if the terrains are lining up very well, or if I just like happen to be in the spot where I'm able to play it, like, that's great. But it was not there with the intention of ever playing it. Whereas when people play rare Priya, those are people that want to play the Priya, which is very different. So when we look at like Bumblebeat, the reason there is just I needed more one drops, but the third Ugly Duckling would make it so that way when I play from reserve, I didn't have anything that was like dense enough, like sticking around. So, like the Bumblebeat, like if you play too many Bumblebeats though, like there was a time where people were playing 3 of them, but if you just have a bunch of Bumblebeats in your reserve, then like you can't actually play them all out efficiently. Like you need to choose how you're weaving it in. So 1 felt like the right number to just like get me the optionality. Sometimes you just need any one cost character. It's a 1 cost character. But then like there are certain matchups where you know it'll stick around.
Yeah.
So you can like, even if it's just like on their turn you play Bumblebee, your turn you make the token and you can play Bumblebee just as a 2/2/2. There's just some matchups where that is just gonna like be a large enough advantage. So one time is, yeah, you don't want to draw the second. Another one is like, imagine if I could play 4 copies of a card. Well, then I'll play the 3 ones I'm allowed to play and play the one that looks like that one the most.
Okay.
So, which like, once again, you could just mana a little bit more, but if you're trying to increase the consistency, you might want cards that look that way. And then I think one thing that is actually underappreciated, is specifically in open deck list, is splitting things like my Duel of Grits. So here, I chose 1/1 Duel of Grit, partially because I think that's optimal, but moreover, it's because if they know you only play rare Duel of Grit, they actually play from reserve differently. Because when you have a common Duel of Grit, it feels really bad when your fleeting character gets Duel of Gritted. But if they have only rare Duel of Grits and rare mana eruptions, then you're just like, great, like my things from reserve are so good because you're wasting, like, your deck has less rares if you're like spending the rare Duel of Grit to do this thing. So
Yeah.
sometimes I think about how I'm trying to trade my commons for people's rares, or how I'm trying to cause their rares to like not be as good, or even forcing them to mana it. For the Chiron Pathfinder, one thing that Freeloader is very adamant about was just having enough 2-drops that you can play on turn 1. And you could be like, oh yeah, we already have Spotter and Tengu and Saringer, but he just felt like in his experience that was not enough. And Pathfinder is not a very good like turn 1 2-drop play.
Yeah.
So he said we could go to 1 Chiron, but I was just like, no, you're right. I'll just mana Chiron most of the time on turn 1. But like, man, the times that I like don't draw any of my other 9 cards. So Chiron's both like, it's 2 1-drops. Like, it's really just like, or sorry, 2 1-ofs. That just happens to be a 2-of. We just wanted 1 to 2 more cards that was just a 2-drop that could like beat a like Sigismar token on turn 1. So that's why that one's there. The 1 Ortis Spy is like kind of weird, but it's mostly just part of why I should have played 1 like Ortis Spy in my like Sigismar list. It's just like, sure, I have the unique Ortis Spy, but if they know that that's my only sabotage, it's actually pretty easy for them to like not let me take 4 cards with it. But if I play like another normal Ortis Spy, it's actually really hard for them.
Yeah, that's a good reasoning. So, and maybe this is like the key aspect of like why you are here being interviewed as the world champions. Like, because effectively, like, you choose to follow like the consistency and also to have how do you say it, like a clear path between the 3 decks that you choose basically. And with the open deck list, you took advantage of this open deck list basically, because like you play a lot of like, let's say random stuff. They are not random, but like just one off. So maybe are mostly situational, like not like that impactful. Let's say that, because you need to draw it. If not, like it's not a big of a deal. But in the head of the other people, in the brain of the other people, they know that you can have it. So it's like
Right.
a mind game.
Yeah, well, one thing that helps is like your one-ofs, like, in a deck with a lot of card draw, one-ofs can be very good. But also, like, in a deck that a lot of my characters are mostly interchangeable because they're really trying to get advances. So then you get to like have just like an amount of cards that get to be these cool situational cards. Like not every archetype or every hero gets to do this because sometimes certain heroes need more cards for their deck to function, or
Yeah.
like they just can't have like that much variability in their cards. Whereas here I'm just like Kojo, I'm literally only going to draw characters or things that kill things. Like that is every card I draw. So like if I go to no cards in hand and I'm going to draw for my turn, I know that that's what I'm going to draw. So it's like even though it seems like oh you have all these one-ofs, like how is that consistent? It's consistent on a macro level, and then the chaos is actually good on a micro level, like when you're actually planning your mana decisions.
Yeah, yeah. And that's really cool. Like, I
Hmm.
think that like your approach will be a little bit copied across the
Yeah.
next season and stuff like that. Probably,
Mhm.
I'm a fan of the one-offs. Actually, like I
Mhm.
actually play some one-offs, especially in my list. I was playing Evenka Friday, and I feel like my
Okay.
list was like all three offs, and then like 1/1/1 the free on the end. Just free
Yeah.
utility card that maybe could be good, and if I draw them, well. If not, like it was the rare slot. I think I was running
Okay.
like
Yeah.
one Requiem, one Off You Go, one of another rare. Just like if you have it, you have it. If not, like it is what it is. Like the deck is still running. In that case, where like rare slot, that
Mhm.
maybe kinda sucks, but it was difficult to choose. Like, for example, double Off You Go. Like, why you have
Yeah.
to play double Off You Go? It's a double rel. I was like looping stuff, so maybe one it was fine, and yeah,
Yeah, I do think that I guess the last point on this is when you're testing a deck though, that is the time that is great to just bust out all the one-ofs, and then you can say I want more of this, therefore I'm adding it, or this has not earned its keep, now I'm bringing it down to zero. Like we tested, both Freeloader and I tested some common Leviathan spotter because like we're just like, can you just like reason with it in a very Navenka sort of way, or like one of these like Lyra heroes. Like Lyra would probably play like this weird Baba Yagi like type of card
mm-hmm.
if they could. So like, can we just get away with playing the common and then? So like in situations like that where you're just trying to test like a specific theory, make it a three of that way you just see it as often as possible. But when you're just like, I know on a macro level this is what I want to do, but I don't know like what should be rare, what should be common, just play tons of ones and then just play a bunch of games and then just like see how you feel after those.
Yeah, for example, now you can play on our singleton tournament a little bit
Yeah,
on a
exactly.
add-on. And you can test 39 different cards.
Yeah,
No, it's a
exactly.
it's a really good point, and effectively because like it's not an easy game to test in, because there is so many random things like for the biomes and the draws and like the choices of your opponents. Like in other games, I was playing Yu-Gi-Oh, for example. It was
Okay, yeah.
it was easier to test, and because you can like basically like every deck that is the most played basically hand on the same end board. So if you need to go second, basically you can set up the board and try to destroy it, or if you need to go first, you can have the interruption for your opponent in hand and stuff like that. So it's easier to test. Like in most of the games, like maybe the first two turns are pretty much similar. Some
Mhm.
ways, but from the third day in advance, like it's impossible to like create a
Yeah,
scenario. So it's actually a
yeah.
difficult way to test. It's difficult to test in altered. So your point, for example, is a really good like advice or way to test things in altered. So I'm happy to hear
Yeah,
that.
yeah, I think like the word I like to use that I heard from a Magic player is like messy. Like you can kind of plan for things, but then at some point around day two or three, the game is just really messy. Like you probably haven't seen this game before, and like one of my strengths is I think I'm able to parse really like weird exception situations a lot better. But about like the deck building point, like I had a friend that was from Magic that was trying to play some altered, and I gave him an Avenka deck. The uniques weren't that good, and he was just like, he's like this Ouroboros Trickster card seems to do nothing, and I was just like, okay, like what makes you feel that way? And I was watching his replays and I was talking to him. It turns out he literally mana'd it every single time, and I was just like, well, you're never gonna see why it's in the deck if you mana it every time. Then like for the next week of him practicing, he never mana'd it, and he's like, now I get it. I'm like, well, yeah, like that's how you. If you don't understand, you should probably keep it in your hand.
Yeah, because when you test it, you like trying to win most of the times because you want to win. Like you want to prove that your deck
Yeah,
wins, and sometimes it's not that the key. Like the key is to even lose some games just because you
yeah,
played some cards and put in mana some stuff that you usually don't want to put in mana, but it's just to test interaction. So yeah, definitely.
yeah.
And well, these were your deck list. And can we talk about a little bit about the tournament? How was your experience overall? How did you feel in the 3 days that you were there? And
Mhm.
yeah, let's start with that.
Yeah, so I've played like pro Magic before, so being in this type of setting, honestly, like I say, if I'm in a game with like really high stakes, be it a camera match or not, I literally feel like home. Like that is how I want to feel. Obviously, I can't feel that every single day, like and maybe I wouldn't want to, but yeah, the opportunity to be able to feel that sort of like competitiveness, someone else really trying their hardest, really just trying to parse the board states and stuff. Like I really do truly enjoy competing and hope to be able to do it my whole life. Um, the LCQ was really nice. As you can see, I was very indecisive on Thursday. So Friday, just like being there, seeing people compete and stuff, really was just like, all right, like I can do this. I feel good. Like I felt really good that like huge credit to the LCQ people because if you look at the 8 people that won their LCQs, like they performed very well at Worlds. Like and they had a whole gauntlet of Friday and then they had to do Saturday and some people Sunday. Like it was actually pretty wild how well the like I think 3 of the 6 faction champions were all like LCQ people, but they're only 1/4 of the competitors. Like that was amazing.
Yeah,
Um,
it was tough because, like, for example, one of my teammates lost to Luigi in the finals, and
yeah,
like the semifinals finished like at half past midnight basically, and
yeah.
at the 8 o'clock they need to be there for the final and also prepare the decks for the final because that for
Yeah,
the world
just in case
champions.
they win. Yeah,
Yeah, it was insane. Like I went to sleep at like 4:30 in the morning to prepare the deck for my friend. So like
yeah,
it was mental. Like they played so many games. It was incredible. So GG to them because like
yeah.
it was an incredible run for them.
Yeah, it was wild. But yeah, so on a personal level, my actual goal in day one was to make it out of group stages. Like if I told myself that if I make it out of group stages and then I lose 2 right away in the double elimination, I could at least go home saying that I finished in the top half of competitors. Like I would feel good about that. So when like I was very close to not even making it my group stages, but I played a little bit well, but also got pretty lucky to to make it out. But once I did, I felt very much like thankful, like I didn't have to make it out group stages. Happy that I did, and to like have your back against the wall all the way, and then now be able to lose a match because it's double elimination. I was just like, man, like I feel just no pressure at all. Like I feel like I can just do whatever. If I lose twice, fine, but I'm just gonna keep on playing until they tell me to stop, and I can like go home proud that I was in the top 16. That was actually how I felt for like once the double elimination started.
Yeah, once you are there, you want to play it and have fun most of the time. So and give it
Yeah.
all. Then what happened happened.
Yeah,
So
like
you have
I'm
a
not
clear
sure
goal,
like
obviously. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah. Sorry. Like I'm not sure how many of my matches you got to see in person and like the like feature matches, we had like a mic, but like the crowd couldn't hear what we were saying. But like I would talk a lot during my matches. Like I was very much like getting people into it and stuff, or like just at some point I literally I think it was my match against Kenton, which like was one of the hardest matches where just like had my back against the wall, and it's like four who's making out of group stages, and like literally every time I played the card hooked, I would just be like hooked, and I would just like throw the card kind of and stuff like that. Like I just think it's a funny card. Or like every time I would play like the ugly duckling, I would just scream duck because that's what Runefolk and I do because we love this card. And then like every time I would ascend, I would just be like ascend, like just like and you know you see other people, and you know maybe it's partially because they haven't been in these settings or they feel like they've worked so hard and they just want to focus on the game. But for me, like this reminds people like I believe me doing these things actually helps people play better. Like I don't do it to throw people off their game. I don't do it to distract people. I think when people are both having fun and concentrating very hard, they will perform the best. And I partially do it because, you know, I think so many more memories are like created through these like funny interactions and things happening. Like in my top four in the WCQ in Dallas, my opponent was playing Linda Way, and whenever he would like think and start to tap mana, I would just scream like "Ma," and then he would be like "Ma," and then like it just started just being us not saying anything in the match other than "Ma." Like it was just really fun.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Like because you can like relax a bit, and so you can play better basically. Because if you are starting to stress out, because some players effectively are very strict in what they do. So they ask you how many cards in hand, how mana,
Yeah.
like place the deck here, place the deck there, move this, move that. You being like really stressed and like you are not comfortable. While in case with games like with people like you can be more relaxed, more like happy, let's say that, and enjoy the game more. And so when you are enjoying the game at the same time, you're effectively also playing better because you can just like focus on what are you doing and not like, oh my god, what is he thinking about me, what I'm doing wrong, and stuff like that. So it's a very
Yeah.
positive attitude from you. So I really
I
enjoy that.
Yeah, I think besides approaching games like that, I hope that one thing people could feel a little bit like inspired by or whatnot is like I haven't watched all of the replays of Worlds, so maybe I'm just like in my own head or something like that. But in Magic, and I imagine in Altered too, I think out of most of the competitors, I was probably one of the faster players. Like
Hmm.
I make my decisions like pretty quickly. Um, like I remember just like being in yeah, just like my last 3 or 4 matches, and I was just like my opponent would be done, and I'm just literally just like already tapping my mana and playing my card. Like there wasn't that much gap in time. And I'm not saying everyone should just like play quickly to the point of just like making mistakes, but I would really appreciate if more people like thought more proactively on the other opponent's turn. Like there were so many matches that went to time. Don't get me wrong, some of mine did too.
Hmm.
And there's definitely spots where you should be thinking more, but like for instance, there's like a funny story on like AQZ of just like freeloaders playing against someone at a WCQ who like is like a better player. I won't mention their name, but they're playing Sigismar. Freeloaders playing Kojo, and they like just finished Manang, and then he like freeloader plays turn one, going first, so he has the Buddha and
Hmm.
plays Tiny Jin on like the hero side. And apparently this like higher level Sigismar player literally thought for 2 minutes before making their play. And like the joke Freeloader and I have is like, wow, it's like you've never seen Tiny Jin before. Like you just didn't think that this would be a possibility. And
Yeah.
it's just like if we spend too much time on literally turn one after manning, like take a long time manning, that is fine. But if you're taking a long time manning, you should have thought of everything that could have happened on turn one already. You don't
Yeah.
draw any more cards. Like you already know what's gonna happen. So like like the more you can script those, like just think in your head what you would do, then you're allowed to have more time in the situations you want to have more time. So I hope people watching the event really like respected that I was able to both play above average speed minimally. I don't want to say I was literally the fastest, but definitely above average speed and still able to play at a high level. And I hope other people can aspire to do the same thing because we only have so much time in the round.
Yeah, and also like it's a plus for you because if you finish your game fast, you can easily rest a little bit more than other players. Like,
True.
especially like I'm speaking about a locals levels on some regionals. Like my games were usually a little bit. I'm a fast player too, and my games
Yeah,
usually end
awesome.
up really before times runs out. So I have like 10 15 minutes to relax to talk about everything else and
Yeah,
be more like concentrated for the next game maybe because
yeah.
sometimes you have to play like finish on time the time zone the time rules stuff like that and then you
Mhm.
have to jump on another matchup right like after so it's kind of
Yeah, I
difficult
think
if you do it every fucking round of the game, like 7 round without no breaks and stuff like that. So it's actually like better to play a little bit faster. Clearly, you need to think like you can just drop cards on the field and hope for the best. But yeah,
yeah.
I agree with what you said.
I, I would say like one thing on that point is it doesn't even have to be thinking things. Like the thing that actually takes a long time that I think shouldn't is literally what happens at the end of a day. Like advancing, untapping, drawing, passing the first player marker, that should not take more than 10 seconds or maybe 15 seconds. Like just fine, we might have to roll a die to see what side we
Yeah,
go into. Outside of that, like just games I was not a part of, I'm like, why is it taking 30 seconds for you to untap your mana and draw two cards? Like that, like some people like untap one at a time or they like lay out each one at a time and I'm just like, you do not want to finish in time. Like,
yeah, yeah. And speaking about your tournament, so your like the run in your world champion, like which opponent gave you the most trouble? And I will start doing also the second question. Like in the final, if it had been a regular best of three, what would
mhm.
you have been banned?
You see, I didn't even watch your interview with Vittorio yet, so I don't even know what his answer is. But I'll start with that one just because it's a very clear, quick question. So let's see. He had like his Basira style Kojo. He had Skybound Odyssey with good uniques on
Sigismund?
Sigismar, and he had Trace, which was like had pretty good uniques also. I also know he's like kind of known for playing Trace, like both with and without bug fix. But I think I think I would have banned probably I probably would have just banned Kojo because I think his Kojo was built very well to beat my Trace. And I think like if like my builds were more consistent, but is if his Kojo like high rolled in terms of like getting really good like Suha with helping hand like or like being able to play like wingsuit jumpers on terrains where it was good for
Mm-hmm.
it and stuff. And like my builds were not that good against a physical training like Kojo, which I just didn't think would be that like that popular. I think I would have to ban Kojo. Plus, like one thing I was worried about because like you know I try to be a little bit more like modest and whatnot, but I do have a decent amount of pride in myself in playing Kojo. And if I were to lose Worlds by losing a Kojo final, which could have happened if I didn't draw the hunger in that Trace game, like I think besides losing the finals, I think I would have taken it very hard to like lose the Kojo mirror. So to protect my pride, if I could have banned in the finals, I think I would have banned the Kojo also.
That's
Um,
fair.
yeah. So for opponents
And
that gave me, oh sorry,
yeah, yeah, I was just adding like outside the finals, of course, like
yeah. Well, so my girlfriend likes to remind me of how almost every round I told her, like I would look at the decks and I would be like, yeah, their lineup is just better than mine, or their uniques are just better than mine. The only times I did not say that was round one and the finals. Both of those I felt like they were completely like reasonable and I was able to fight in the way I like fighting. But so many people just had like uniques that were very, very good. So um I mean, shout out to Elbor. Elbor's the only person that beat me in the Conquest format. Um, that one, like, I don't like to blame luck, especially because I consider myself a rather lucky person. But it's like the deciding game. My opening hand in the Trace Mirror is Frankenstein, Frankenstein, Haven, Haven, Armor Jammer, Aerolith Reef or Airship Reef. So I had 4 landmarks and 2 Frankenstein in my opener. He was kind enough to only 1-0 me on the first day. But yeah, then I ended up getting in a spot where I got a 2-1 back later, which was really cool. It was through like a Frankenstein bug out bag with a Gibble to trigger the bug out bag again, which was pretty sweet. Then we just end up in a spot where he has no cards in hand, and he has to trace ability into, I think it was only 1 Frankenstein. It could be possible it was 2. My memory's not that good, especially in these like long games of just like getting so many cards. But then he, like draws a Frankenstein and then is able to like win off of that. And if it wasn't Frankenstein, I probably would have won. So that one, but like his lineup was like pretty sweet. It's a shame he didn't make it further in the tournament, but so that one stood out to me. So I don't think it was the one I was the most afraid of, but I have to give credit to the only person that beat me. Kenton's lineup, when I saw it, like when I looked at group stages, like both Elbor and Chang, I felt like I could beat, but like Kenton's, I was just like, I'm behind. So his lineup was Fen that had 2 Studious Disciples that are like Inkcasters, and one that just like arrow like returns a spell. So just infinite value. He won very easily with his Fen. He had a Basira that had like Lyran Hydras with Nuit combo, and I just had to ban it. A's Basira, but B like they could just quad advance. Like most things are not beating decks that can just quad advance, which is kind of wild.
Yeah, that Nuit is like insane. I actually don't know why they bring that card.
Yeah, I think it's the only card that they have printed so far, which is good. Like, if we're 4 sets in and there's only... I mean, I didn't play in set 1, so of course, you know, I didn't experience Robin.
You avoid the Robin Hood shenanigans.
Yeah, some people say that I have such a positive view in the game, in every aspect, because I've avoided, like, playing Waru meta. And then his third deck was Trace with, like, pretty good uniques, better than mine. So that one was definitely scary in a lot of ways. Yeah, so then, but yeah, I was able to barely make it out of that one. I actually had to win a Trace Mirror. Yeah, my record with Trace was pretty bad in the tournament. So let's see. So I played top 16, top 8, top 4, finals, grand finals, and group stages. So I played 8 matches, only 7 of them had bans. So I had to play Trace in all of them, and I think, I do remember all my matches, I just haven't done the math. But I'm pretty sure I went like 3-5 or 3-6 with Trace. And then Kojo, I went 5-1, only losing the first game of the finals. And all my games were 7 minutes or less, like about that, which is wild. Like, I heard, like, I don't know if this is true, but I heard Pava was not allowed to play Kojo all day. Like, people only banned Kojo regardless of, like, the lineup. But for me, like, I don't know if they just viewed us differently or they thought the uniques were too good in my Sigismar list. But Sigismar got 5 bans and Kojo got 2. Where the only 2 that banned it were Kenton and Javi. So, like, those were the people I was most afraid of because I didn't just have this free win in my back pocket, which is funny. Like, yeah, like, Javi was just like, didn't you, like, win Dallas with, like, Kojo? Obviously, I'm going to ban that. And then just like, yeah.
That's
so... Fair. Yeah, there was, like, one other player, like, Nadir, knew that I was known for Kojo, but he had a lineup with Afanis, so he just, like, had to ban Sigismar, which I, like, respected. But the other 4, I think they just, like, didn't know anything about me, which was... It won't work in next year's Worlds, but at least it was good for this one. So, Kenton, Banish was actually very close and hard. So, game 1, I punted twice in a Trace Mirror. It's probably not good when round one of your tournament is like your third time playing Trace, so I probably should have just played it more, but I was just so indecisive with my decks that honestly I had more games on Hostage than I did Trace before the tournament.
Lol.
Um, but from actually losing a bunch of mirrors, I learned enough to beat Kenton in the mirror, and if I like just thought a little bit more, like I probably would have been able to beat Banish in game one. Like my starter was a lot better than his, but then his uniques were like good enough, but they shouldn't have mattered if I played slightly better. Like pretty much, I ended up on a turn where I had two Havens, and I like Sap Sniffer Haven like one of them, only one pump, because I thought that I would have to like trace and put in like a Amelia Earhart and like maybe split up
Hmm.
like where the counters go. But then I forgot about like that he could just have hooked, which would create the scenario where I have to play like Airship Reef instead of Amelia. And then we end up going to the arena by exactly one like boost on that like Sap
Oh,
Sniffer,
okay.
which is kind of embarrassing. Um,
I mean, I think
but then the next,
Trace Mirror are actually like maybe one of the like most difficult matchup because Trace, rather than every other heroes, has a billion of like route to play because
yeah,
like they have a lot of combo resupply and stuff, and you can predict everything that happen. And yeah, they have a billion of choice, so it's actually difficult to predict. While other decks are pretty much standard, like on the way they play. Maybe yeah, there is obviously some aleatority to that, but they are more like straight in the way they play. Trace has a lot
yeah.
of different routes, so it's not easy to play a Trace Mirror.
Yeah, I feel like so if people play Magic, there's a deck called Death and Taxes, and the Death and Taxes mirror is known for like being very chess-like, but through Magic. I think Trace Mirror is the closest thing I've come to that feels very similar, where it's like chess but through like altered.
Yeah.
Where you like have all the same pieces, but you're like trying to be very creative and stuff. Whereas like you can play an aggressive mirror and you just like stomp someone and stuff like that. Like it doesn't feel.
Yes.
Um, but yeah, so then what happened in game 2 and 3 against Banish? So I'm down because I like punted this Trace Mirror. So now I have to play. I have my Trace and Kojo against his at Sadi. So I decided I could have just played Trace and like gone the better like go first or second, and I know I can play Kojo like with the unfavorable
Hmm.
first or second. But I thought that I just needed the psychological boost of at least winning. So I just like played Kojo, like won in like, you know, 5 or 6 minutes, like it was very quick. Um, but then my game three, my opening hand, tried to trap me with all these like frozen deliveries and all this other stuff. But I end up keeping Axiom Salvager, Paju, Paju. Turn one, I get a double advance. Turn two, I get a 2-1. Just by playing Pajus and Axiom Salvagers. And what ends up happening is he literally plays like I don't think I'm confusing this with the Kojo, but I might be. But I'm pretty sure he ends up only drawing one ramp card. So then he's able to play on my 7 mana a Hunger, which I then trade 1-1 with. Then next turn, but I also played some landmarks.
Hmm.
So then the next turn he has Hunger Rage, and then I think I had just enough to push through Hunger Rage to
Oh
like get the last
wow.
advance and win. Where if he doubled, we would have been tied. So that was wild. Like people are like, "Oh yeah, Hunger just like beats Trace," and I'm just like, "Well, like I guess I got very lucky then." Um, so so Banish was very difficult. Um, my top 8 against Nadir was pretty easy because I just aggroed out his Zaphanis. Top 4 against Javi was, yeah, I think Javi probably like at that point in the tournament, if you get everyone's probability of winning the tournament, I think Javi had the highest probability of winning. I thought his lineup was really good. So he had Easy Lopez's Tasia like deck. He had Auroch Resupply, which he won his LCQ with, and then he had Sigismar, which he's pretty much only been playing for the last like it's like when we played in a WCQ and stuff, he was playing Sigismar. Like I know he was really good at Sigismar. So like I think he had Sigismar, which I think is just still the best deck in the format, and he just had two completely unfair like you can't interact with me decks. So yeah, if you haven't watched this match, specifically game one, which like to be fair, like everyone emphasizes how lucky I got in game one, But like I knew my Sigismar was not going to beat his Auroch. So really, all that me winning game one did was it made it so that way I didn't have to win a Sigismar mirror. But I think my Ascend build is good in the mirror, and he thought so too. But also, and Trace is good against Sigismar. So like, all that changed was like we probably would have went to game three, and he would have decided who goes first instead of me, which like isn't the biggest advantage like overall, but like obviously it matters. But so in game one, we like end up in the spot where like I'm really just trying to shove as quickly as possible with Trace. And I play Trace first because I know that I just stink with this deck at this point, and I just like need as many opportunities to get wins, and I trust myself to win any Sigismar or Kojo game. So then like what ends up happening is everyone thinks I top deck at the end, which is true, but leading into the turn, I thought about everything that would have to happen, and I was just like, I think this is going to be a situation where I need to get a Gibble at the end, because I need him to commit and think I don't have much mana. Then I can like knock out like a Bliss Fan Artist or something like that, or Fan or whatever it's called, like the one that gets boost. So yeah, so I end up just going through this turn. I like end up like at the very end with my last mana, like I end up frozen delivering into one of my Gibbles, which then like hits the Reef, which is able to knock out a thing because I'm trying to progress, and he's like 3 advances from winning, and I just shoved one side because I'm 1 advance from winning. So then what happens is he like rightfully so, like, you know, he played pretty quickly, so we were able to think a lot in this like endgame situation. So he ends up playing an Ouroboros Trickster, where if he rolls 4 through 6, he wins, and if he doesn't lose because he resupplies twice, but like it's still not looking great. Like he still needs some things to go his way.
Yeah.
So he ends up rolling low, and then I think he can draw probably about a third of the cards in his deck on the resupplies, and if he gets any 1-cost resupply, I also lose. But then he hits like, I think it was like a Twinkle Twinkle and like a 2-cost, and then he like ends up needing to play another one, but now he hits like something that like gets boost, so now his like fan is getting counters and stuff, and then literally just sums up in this whole situation where he's literally just 1 stat point short of stopping me.
Wow.
And yeah, so that was wild. But yeah, I think it was Javi's tournament to win at that snapshot in time. Like when I went to bed and looked at the deck list, and I'm just like, and I looked at some of the other deck lists, I'm like, yeah, I think Javi just has this. So yeah, I'd probably say he gave me like a pretty tough time. My top 4 went pretty well for me, and then the finals, I got very lucky in that finals. But I do think like, you know, this is obviously an excuse, but like, the way the double elimination tournament like was structured, like time wise, like in terms of execution, like Vittorio, like I understand playing like back-to-back matches of like Altered, he had to climb through losers bracket to make the finals, which is a fantastic story, but like he's also just like very like honed in, like he is ready to play. Like I had like 3 or 4 hours between like me finishing my winners finals and the actual finals. So I think it actually took me out of some like competitive like focus mindset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, you actually have time to cast too, so.
Yeah. I casted 1 game, and then like in the middle of the game, I like text my girlfriend. I'm like, tell Cole I can't do this. Like I'm way too tired. And then once I like left, I had just put my head on the table and like couldn't like do anything. But yeah, I just like game 1 of the finals, like turn 1, I like gave him like a 2-1 when I definitely could have just like 1-1'd minimally on day 1. And then day 2 I also screwed up, even with me already screwing up like day 1. And day 3 I made like a judgment call that might also be a mistake. Like it was literally like, I mean, it was my only Kojo loss, and I might have lost even if I played perfectly. But like it just felt so bad to just like come out of my break, like have this huge advantage of being able to validate Trace, which I have no idea how to play, and then just like to just like punt like playing my best deck at like the highest stakes. And then game 2, I also screwed up. It wasn't day 1, but I screwed up like a middle day that like made it a lot harder for me. But at least I was still like aggressive enough to like have the hunger bail me out. So yeah, so that was definitely fortunate. But what actually happened in the finals was I like put my 2 cards down to draw, which I typically do just to show I'm drawing 2 cards, and they draw them one at a time. And this happened with the Gibble. This happened against Kenton, where I need to draw exactly Chili's Koba and a 1-drop, and I drew an ugly duckling, which most people play Jack Frost, so that was so sweet. But every time I like top decked in this tournament, I would put my cards down, and then I would just say to myself, if I am gonna be world champion, this is gonna be this card. And like I put down 2 cards, and I just like on the top one, I'm like, all right, if I'm gonna be world champion, this is gonna be my one hunger, and just draw it, and just the whole crowd like goes wild. Um, but like the problem that ended up happening was like I don't think it was a board state where Vittorio could like maybe he could play around the hunger, but I don't think he should because if he plays around the hunger, he would lose to like other combinations of cards unless if he gets a hooked. So like what ends up happening is like I think so for the mics or like the headset, they like tell us can you hear the crowd? And we both said we can't hear the words that they're saying, but we can like hear that they are saying something.
Yeah.
Um so I'm pretty sure, like, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure he heard the crowd when I drew my card. Then he ends up playing his Grems right away to get rid of something. That way it's like 1 boost smaller. But I think if he wasn't playing around the Grems, he would play, or playing around Hunger, he would play the Grems last because it gives you the most, like, stats on either
Yeah,
side.
yeah.
Then I end up winning by 1 stat point, and I'm just like, man, it would have been like so embarrassing if I just lost because like the crowd ended up like doing this. And to be fair, if he like could have blocked, we I would have still advanced because of the way his Anansi was statted, but I would have single advanced and he would have doubled and we went to arena, and I would have been able to start the arena by I would have a Buddha token because I would be first player. I would also be able to play the Hunger, and I had a Mana Eruption in my hand. So the Hunger's going to be, with Mana Eruption, both the Mana Eruption, the Mana Orb, and what you're hitting all go to the discard pile. So I would have had like a Hunger that was a 666 gigantic and a Buddha in the arena. So like, I think it's pretty hard for Trace to beat 14, 14, 14 in the arena with him already playing both of his Anansis that boost well. So I think I win that game either way. So, you know, the crowd can keep on cheering. But yeah, between me like playing pretty sloppy in the first 2 games, I'm glad that the third game went so smoothly because clearly I was not on my A game in the finals. But yeah, I mean, a lot of people ask me, like, they say I was the best player at Worlds because I was world champion. I'm like, that just isn't true. Like, I was not the best player. I did not prepare the best. I did not have the best lineup. I did not have the best uniques. I was a competitor that was very, you know, I made some good decisions. Anyone was really, like, fitting to win. Like, any one of the 32 people could have won. And in this reality, I happened to be the one that won. But I don't want people to conflate that with thinking literally I'm the best in the world. That, like, is not true. Like, there can only be one best person in the world. I have the title world champion, and that's all I will concede to people. Like, I have a title that no one else has. It does not mean literally that I'm the best player in the world. Like, for instance, in my eyes, like, Tempet or Tempete, like, I think he's the best player in the world. And I did not play him in this tournament. And I said to all of my friends every single round, like, if I don't play against him in this tournament, I think I can win. But like, yeah, like like, sure, I'll take it. Like, I'll take any praise people want to give me. Like, I think I probably had an edge in terms of playing camera matches. Like, I've played so many Magic camera matches that like I have a level of calmness that I don't think other people have, and even just playing high stakes card games and having that type of endurance, I think I might have been the best in the tournament at specifically that. But
Okay.
not in terms of being an altered player, not in terms of decklist, not in terms of uniques. I
Yeah,
think things just broke my way.
an
Yeah.
experienced player basically, like
Yeah.
with a solid base to start with.
Yeah,
And
exactly. So, but I'll take the title. It's great. It's something that no one can ever take away from me now, and I think that gives me a level of pride that I wouldn't have otherwise.
yeah, you definitely have to be proud of yourself and what you achieved. So yes, and just to wrap things up, you have something else you want to say, or some shout out, or
Yeah,
whatever.
of course. Well, first, thank you for having me on. I know it's like natural to like get me on like from having one, but like I'd like to think that it was great meeting you, and I would imagine that I would get on at one point or another. And thank you for the tokens at the end. I really do appreciate it. I think they're fantastic. For those of you who
Thank
don't
you.
know, Quest makes these awesome tokens, and I think there's another. I don't know by the time when this comes out, if it'll still be available, but there's like a 400 plus ELO tournament where he gives
Yeah,
out these tokens as
it will
prizes.
be like this Friday because I think that this video will be out this week. So at the end of the
Oh,
week coming in the 7th of November, there will be the 400 plus Elo tournament.
I was actually close to calling out of work just to play in the tournament
Oh
when
wow.
you like announced it, but yeah, Paris took away too many of my off days, so I can't do that. Um, but yeah, so thank you to you, of course. Thank you to first is always shouting out my girlfriend who was there. Some people got to meet her. She had like an embarrassing but sweet like ItsRinku shirt with just like pictures of me. She's
Yeah, I
working on
saw that.
her, and then we might sell shirts later of just like me, which is kind of cool. Um, yeah. And then, but she's always like supportive, and there's like plenty of dinners where I'm just like, hey, I want to play in this AWOL event or this NUC. Like, this is how I'm gonna prep for Worlds. Like, can I do this? And like, I know that she had some rough days at work, and she like would have just wanted more like time together and stuff.
Hmm.
But she was very understanding of where I'm at. She plays competitive Pokemon TCG, so like
Oh
she does
wow.
understand the personal level, but like I know that she made some sacrifices to allow me to end up where I was, and she always had faith in me. Like every time, I was just like, "This is a bad matchup. I don't know how this is gonna go." Like she, just the unwavering support is more than I could ask for. Definitely big shout out to Team AQZ for adopting me, along with Simon, Cole, and Blue for just having so much faith in me, and helping me just like network, have a community, just having people that I feel like I am just friends with. Even though it's through Altered, if something happened to Altered, I like to think we would still keep in touch.
Hmm.
So I really appreciate that. Um, Definitely thank you to all the people that really like when I won that match and I like ran out and hugged my girlfriend, kissed her, and like was like raised up at AQZ and just like people like screaming and like all this stuff. Like even if I didn't get to interact with you directly, if you were there and like help, that moment was just so special for me. Like I can only think of one other time in my life I've ever felt that good about something I have accomplished, and it was really the people's reactions. Like you were there, like I run out, I'm like screaming, I'm like screaming, "Let's go!" And now the crowd's like louder, and then I'm like clapping and like all this other stuff. Like it was very the feedback was very cyclic, where I just kept on getting more like energetic, and then everyone else was getting more energetic, and it just felt really good. So that doesn't happen if people don't, truly care about the game or just like
Hmm.
all this stuff. I was very thankful for that. Thanks to Equinox for making a great game and taking feedback from the players, and I definitely look forward to next year's Worlds. Um, and thanks to just like all the people that might now be like inspired by me to either play games differently, to improve, to like contribute more to the community.
Hmm.
Like I hope I can symbolize or embody something that helps this game continue to grow. Like I really want it to have more reach in the States, Italy, like wherever you are. Like I hope I can be the ambassador for the game as like the first world champion. I feel like I can help make a change, and I do truly love this game and the people that love it the way I do.
Yeah, that's our kind words. And yeah, I saw your moments when you won. I was actually in the casting team in that moment, but yeah, I watched it from that point of view, and it was amazing to see. There was like a super like crowd cheering from for you, so it was really a beautiful thing, and all the community were together in that moment. Even like the
Yeah,
Italians were clapping for you, obviously, even if Vittorio lost. But
yeah,
it was a nice moment to see, like for Altered itself, especially. Obviously for
right.
you, but for everything. And
Yeah,
yes. So
yeah,
Rinko,
it
it
was
has
nice.
like been a really wonderful conversation. Like has been a pleasure to having you here with me. And well, best of luck for the next competitive season, that competitive year. And for the viewers, see you in the next video. So
Yeah,
peace.
thank you.